Hey up, it's Steve from Old Yorkshire Geek. Just a bit of a list. I just saw this article and I just thought, this is interesting. Let's have a look. So it's a list of 10 terrible CGI moments that ruined their movies. I'll probably disagree with some of these. I did have a quick scan through it. Usually I don't read these articles, but I did have a quick scan through it. But I didn't read it, but I know what's coming. So I'll probably disagree with some of these, and I think some of these are not even CGI. But anyway, whatever. Right, so let's have, this is from Screen Rant, by the way, and as usual, links in the description down below. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. I'm also on Rumble and Spotify and Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Links are in the description, as are the links for my 2 books. Mercury Rapids, Lighthearted, Sci-Fi, Action Adventure. I've got to keep plugging them. Silent Predator, short horror novella. That's the difference in them. One's a thick tome, t'other one tint. Right, so let's have a look at this article. That one. There we go. Hang on, I've done it wrong. Hang on, just a minute. Just bear with me. I forgot to do something. There we go. Right, off we go. So, as I said, from Screen Rant, 10 terrible CGI moments that ruined their movies. CGI has advanced the possibilities of movies and is responsible for some fantastic world building, but terrible CGI has ruined some great movies. What annoys me a lot is when people go on about, optical effects and visual effects and say, no, the CGI in that were rubbish. From a film that was made in the 70s or the 60s, they'll say like 2001, the CGI is not very good compared to today. And you think, there's no bloody CGI in it, what are you talking about? Anyway, never mind. Right. Even the displays that they've got were like, traditionally animated. Anyway, whatever. CGI, computer-generated imagery, has pushed the boundaries of filmmaking, but some of the worst CGI moments have completely ruined their movies. The 1973 movie Westworld was the first movie to use CGI in a feature film to emulate the point of view of an android. But was it CGI? I don't think it was CGI. It was just like a filter, wasn't it? Anyway. And since then, CGI has developed at an astonishing rate. I could be wrong, maybe it was created in a computer, I don't know, but I thought it was just a filter, because it was like blocky, wasn't it? Anyway, CGI has developed at an astonishing rate. When used to high standards, CGI can take a movie to a new level, and is often the reason some movies are able to be made realistically, such as sci-fi movies. Tron was the first movie to build a world nearly completely out of CGI. Actually, there's not as much CGI in Tron as you think. And now many movies rely on it to do the same. There's a lot of traditional animation and, optical effects and, faffing about with the colours and stuff. Because it was filmed in black and white, essentially. Anyway, Tron was the first movie to build a world nearly completely out of CGI, and now many movies rely on it to do the same, which can be a blessing or a curse. Movies use CGI in many different ways, sometimes merging it with practical effects, using motion capture, or as first demonstrated by Avatar, using a fusion camera system to create an entire CGI world. CGI can make filmmaking a lot easier, as there is less reliance on being in certain locations when a green screen can be used, or it reduces work hours, such as CGI replacing hand-painted animations. However, the reliance on CGI is not always positive and has caused many great movies to be ruined, even from just one moment. So that just reminded me. Less reliance on being in certain locations when the green screen can be used. Remember, there was a shot, like a behind-the-scenes photo from, I think it was The Rise of Palpatine, or Rise of Skywalker, Rise of Palpatine, showing then they were filming on that desert planet, and they were actually filming outdoors in a desert area, wherever they were. I don't know where they were, but they were outside in this beautiful location, but there's still green screens dotted about. Unbelievable. Anyway, there we go. The Mummy Returns from 2001, number 10. This is the famous Rock, The Rock in it as the Scorpion King. It's 2001, though. The Mummy Returns is the sequel to The Mummy, Brendan Fraser's hit movie, which grossed over $435 million at the worldwide box office. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as he was called back then, made his acting debut in The Mummy Returns as the Scorpion King while he was still at the height of his WWE career. The Scorpion King is infamous as one of the worst CGI moments in movie history. No, it isn't. It's not one of the worst. We look at it, it's not that bad. Lawnmower Man. I don't think that even gets a mention in this list. If you want bad, look at bad CGI. Look at the Lawnmower Man. There's a lot worse than this. Anyway, movie history and the terrible product takes away from the intensity of Johnson's scenes. It's not that bad. VFX supervisor John Burton Jr. explained they did not have a reference of Johnson's face to accurately create the Scorpion King via YouTube, resulting in the villain, which looks like a poorly animated computer game. Yeah, but as I said, remember, it was 2001. And even back then, people were not good, you know. Look at Toy Story. That's all CG. Look how dated that looks now. And that was only, 4 years before this. So, anyway, it's not that bad. People go on about this, and I don't think it's that bad. Yeah, it's not great, but it's not that bad. It's not the worst ever. In fact, it's only number 10 in this list. Number 9, Die Another Day, 2002. Another, I don't know, it's a Bond film, so I like it. I'm going to stick up for a lot of these. At the end of Pierce Brosnan's reign as James Bond, he starred in Die Another Day, arguably his weakest Bond movie. I don't know, though, because Tomorrow Never Dies wasn't great. It wasn't, even though it had Michelle Yeoh in it. It wasn't great. To be honest, I'd put Die Another Day over Tomorrow Never Dies. It's more fun for a start. Anyway, despite this, Brosnan's final movie as James Bond grossed $431 million at the box office and embraced many classic Bond tropes. Die Another Day managed to make an average movie worse, with a CGI scene of Brosnan kite surfing down an Arctic, you can't spell Arctic, it's a train, isn't it? Arctic tidal wave. Yeah, it did look a bit poo. It didn't ruin the movie, though, not for me. Director Lee Tamahori has since expressed regret over the use of CGI in that scene. What were they going to do? Just not do the scene at all, to be honest. But the complexity of the stunt made it impossible to create the Die Another Day scene any other way. Well, yeah, and it does look a bit hokey. Well, it looks a lot hokey. There's a lot of stuff in that film that isn't great, but it's a fun film, particularly the bad guy who's all like. It's like Rick Mayall's Lord Flashheart, played by Toby Stevens. It's a good film. Give it a go. Hulk 2003. I've nothing against this. If they're on about the way the Hulk looks, I think he looks fine. I think he actually looks better than the MCU Hulk. Well, the one from the Edward Norton film. I do. I think that looks better. It looks more like the comic. They were going for a comic feel because there were panels and stuff, weren't there, in the movie, comic panels. Anyway, way before the MCU was established with Iron Man, Marvel made Hulk, a 2003 movie. So way before, it's not 5 years. A 2003 movie starring Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly. You know, I wonder if his name got him the role because he obviously played Bruce Banner, didn't he? I thought, what's your name? Eric Bana. You've got the job. Can you be angry? All right, you'll do. And Jennifer Connelly as Bruce Banner and Betty Ross. Hulk achieved a relatively poor $245 million worldwide gross against a budget of around $130 million. However, one of the most criticised aspects of Hulk was the CGI. Don't think there's anything wrong with it. Director Ang Lee was tortured by Hulk's CGI, according to Josh Lucas, who played Glenn Talbot, and the technology was not there to create Lee's vision. For a movie that relies on a CGI character, the outcome of Hulk badly affected the movie's legacy. I don't agree with the director, and I think he's making excuses for the film's, relatively poor performance. He's blaming it on the CG. By the way, it was Ang Lee that did the motion capture for the Hulk. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Although the last part, it was like a stage play at the end. There's Eric Bana and what's his name? Anyway, the fellow that played his dad. Oh God, super famous act. Nick Nolte, Eric Banner and Nick Nolte just sat on chairs shouting at one another. Anyway, number 7, The Matrix Reloaded, 2003. Another one which I didn't mind. I'm presuming they're on about this fight with all the Smiths. Anyway, The Matrix Reloaded is the sequel to The Matrix, which was a defining movie in the development of CGI. Keanu Reeves returned as Neo in the extremely successful sequel that grossed $741.8 million worldwide, beating Terminator 2 Judgment Day for the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. I didn't know what R-rated. And was the third highest grossing film of 2003. The Matrix Reloaded's success is undeniable. The whole movie is undermined by a terrible CGI scene. The Burly Brawl scene sees Neo fight an army of Agent Smith's clones, which was made by using actors who were edited with CGI. The terrible CGI in The Matrix Reloaded takes away from the fight, and suddenly turns The Matrix Reloaded into an unrealistic video game of a movie. No, it don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's fine. It's a fine scene for the time. There's nothing wrong with it. Stop complaining. Now, this one, I might agree with, because this kind of did detract from the film. I Am Legend 2007. I Am Legend is finally getting a much anticipated sequel, which is no surprise after the success of the Will Smith-led movie. But he's relieved if he's going to be in it. The post-apocalyptic action thriller was in the works for 13 years before finally being released in 2007 and became the 7th highest grossing movie of 2007. The zombies used, called the Darkseers, they're more like vampires than zombies, were created entirely with CGI, and it undermined the dark and broody atmosphere I Am Legend originally set up. The Darkseekers are first seen when Smith's Neville is slowly searching in a pitch-black building in a very intense scene. Once the Darkseekers are revealed, all that tension disappears and the creature's poorly rendered CGI ruins the movie. It doesn't ruin the movie, but it detracts from it, because it's not really, it's not photorealistic, is it? They've got that uncanny valley thing. There's something off about them. They do look cartoony. And I don't know why they decided to go for that, because they didn't really do much, that needed CGI, to be honest, apart from the mouths are opened a bit wider than normal. But apart from that, they could have had regular people in makeup, and, if they needed the mouths to open wide, you do CGI with that. So I don't know why they decided on that. Maybe they thought they were doing something special. Right, X-Men Origins Wolverine. But it is a good film, though. It is a good film. X-Men Origins Wolverine, another film I do actually like. In fact, I think I like all the films in this list. I do actually like this film. It gets a lot of stick, and I think it's good fun. X-Men Origins Wolverine was the 4th movie that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine appeared in, yet it was the first time his claws were created with CGI. They do look a bit Roger Rabbit-y. Before X-Men Origins Wolverine's claws had been made from practical effects, but they were deemed too heavy to film with. Well, they managed in 3 previous films, didn't they? It is extremely obvious Wolverine's claws are made with CGI to the point where they look animated, and it was not helped by a scene where Jackman had to clash his claws together. The effect with the added spark ruined the previously realistic character. They keep using that word ruin, don't they? But they do look animated, and like I said, they do look like Roger Rabbit claws, as though it's like it's from Toontown. When Roger somebody pulls out a sword and stuff like that, in Roger Rabbit, and it's singing. His claws look a bit like that. They don't look CGI. They look hand drawn, animated. It's weird. Anyway, Tron Legacy 2010. I say that's the age reduced. What do they call it? De-aged. That's the word I'm looking for. The de-aged Jeff. What's his face? Jeff Bridges. Which again did take you. I hate the term. It took me out of the film, but I'm going to use it here. It takes you out of the film. I always think, man, people say that. It's a film. It's not real. So anything can take you out of it. Looking at your watch can take you out of a film. Anyway, Tron was another movie that was a defining moment in CGI history. But as I said, the original didn't have quite as much CGI as you might think. Like I say, a lot of it was hand animated and as I said, colorized, black and white film, colorized and stuff like that, and faffed with, rather than CGI. But there's some in it, quite a lot, but not as much as you'd think. Anyway, but its sequel did not live up to that. Tron Legacy once again used CGI to build a digital world, and this time made it look much slicker and more realistic. And that's the thing, it didn't look as good as the original. It was just like another world, rather than the Tron. In Tron, it looked like you might imagine our computer civilization had look. This just looked like here, but raining and dark. Anyway, the style of the movie, paired with Daft Punk's musical score, has been widely commended, and Tron Legacy succeeded at the box office. Yeah, it's fine, Phil. I didn't mind it. I'm just moaning a bit. However, Jeff Bridges reprised his role as Kevin Flynn, aka Clue, and the CGI used to de-age him ruined the movie. But it did take you out of it. It did detract. I'll use that word, detract. I'll use that a lot. The effect made Bridges look more like a character from a computer game, and it took away from the excitement of Bridges' return to the franchise. But this were early days of de-aging and stuff. This is one of the first ones I can remember, to be honest, for de-aging. And so, I mean, you could argue that it's a computer representation of a young Jeff Bridges. You could say that's why it doesn't look quite that good. Anyway, number 3, Green Lantern, 2011, another film I quite enjoyed. Superhero movies are often dependent on CGI, but when it goes wrong, it detracts from the entire movie. Green Lantern flopped for multiple reasons, but the CGI was a huge part of that. Ryan Reynolds' how to spell that? I don't know how to spell Reynolds. Get any more wrong? It's a bit like when Baldrick on Blackadder Christmas Carol totally misspells Merry Christmas, gets every letter wrong. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern suit was made entirely of CGI, which he spoofed about it, didn't he, in Deadpool? Remember that? Don't make my suit green, or CGI, or whatever, computer generated. Anyway, and despite a $200 million budget, it is classed as one of the worst CGI moments in movie history. No, it's not that bad. Not using a costume for Green Lantern's suit made it look very animated, yeah, and not in keeping with a serious movie. Well, not really a serious movie, was it? Yeah, it had serious parts in it, but it was an adventure. Green Lantern was supposed to launch the DC universe, but its poor performance and shocking CGI meant it has been largely ignored as part of the DC world. Like I said, the things that I didn't like about Green Lantern were the Hot Wheels racetrack scene. That looked poo. And the bad guy, he looked weird with his head all growing and stuff, and that kind of freaked me out. But the rest of it, I didn't mind. I said, that looks fine to me. Don't know what they're moaning about. Number 2, Justice League 2017, the infamous mustache removal. Unbelievable. DC has launched a wide universe since the failings of Green Lantern, but CGI mistakes came back to haunt them in 2017 Justice League. Snyder's departure from Justice League meant reshoots had to be made last minute, but Henry Cavill was filming for Mission Impossible Fallout and had a mustache. To fix this, Justice League used CGI to edit out Cavill's mustache, but it was done to a very poor level. By the way, they asked if they could shave it, but Paramount wouldn't let him. Because they're being petty, obviously. They could have just put a bloody fake mustache on him, couldn't they? But never mind. How many tens of millions of dollars did it cost to CGI out that mustache? And how bad it looked. Anyway, Cavill's smudged face became a mockery for Justice League until the messy CGI was fixed by Snyder's cut of Justice League. I don't know, did that? I think they used shots where he didn't have a mustache, didn't they? Because when he came back for reshoots for the Joss Whedon Justice League, that's when he had the mustache, not when he originally filmed it with Zack Snyder. Get your facts right. Number 1, Death on the Nile 2022, which I've not seen. I started watching the the previous one, Murder on the Orient Express, and to be honest, it got me angry and I turned it off. Don't ask why. It got me mad. I'm not a big woke moaner or moan about woke and stuff like that, but that film actually got me a bit cross. Anyway, Death on the Nile brought another Agatha Christie novel to the screen, as well as a large ensemble cast. The rise of CGI has meant movies are less inclined to shoot on location to reduce costs, and Death on the Nile was part of this trend. I don't want to talk about CG for you. Death on the Nile uses beautiful scenes of the Egyptian landscape, but this was done with B-roll. Shots with the actors and the scenery were done with a green screen. So that's not CGI. That's sending a crew out and getting, as I said, B-roll, background shots, landscapes, and then filming the actors in front of a green screen. There's no CGI involved. Essentially, it's compositing and stuff like that, and chroma keying the green screen out, but it's not CG. Anyway, the most blatant. Who wrote this? The most blatant example is when Emma Mackey's character steps onto the boat, and the majority of the shot is a very obvious green screen. The CGI, in bold, massively detracts from the importance of the landscape and Death on the Nile as a whole. I don't know, I've not seen it, but as I said, it's probably not CGI. It's probably just background plate. But you can tell from a still shot that she's not actually there. But it's not CG, is it? It's just bad compositing. There you go. So that's that. So anyway, I think they're just moaning for this. It's Screen Rant though, isn't it? Because they've got to make up articles for some reason. They've just got to have 80 million articles a day. So they just try and just think up something, inane. And then idiots like me read it out. Right. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So stop moaning about CGI. They do the best. They do their best. Like Sunday, I was watching something. I can't remember it was now. Somebody was saying the dinosaurs didn't look very good. It might have been that 65. Somebody was moaning about the dinosaurs in that and not looking very good. And I thought, that looked fine to me. But people moan too much about CGI, to be honest. If it looks okay, it looks okay. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. As long as the story's good and it's fun and people are screaming and running, that's all we want. Right, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.